Natural disasters are signs of the end. Recently, several dramatic events are taking place in the world. Some people say that it is a sign of the end. Christian conspiracy theorists point out that European and American heat waves are updating their records so far. They also point out a devastating earthquake that robbed hundreds of people in places like Indonesia. Middle-scale earthquakes and volcanic eruptions are increasing in the Pacific Ring of Fire. Centralized torrential rains, large-scale hurricanes, large typhoons, and floods are increasing all over the world. In addition, forest fires are hitting in the west coast of the United States and Europe. All of these natural disasters are backed by the political tension that leads to the Third World War. As a result, some Christian conspiracy theorists argue that there is a possibility that these will lead to the end. Pandemic caused by a new virus? It is said that the global pandemic expansion of highly fatal viruses that will wipe out 900 million people worldwide is coming soon. And it is said that it was predicted by the Bible. On May 15, 2018, a new training exercise for pandemics Clade X was carried out at the Johns Hopkins Center for Global Health Security in Washington, D.C., where plague experts and former senior government officials participated. In the exercise, the emergence of a new kind of virus, which is extremely difficult to halt the spread of infection due to a high mortality rate like SARS, severe acute respiratory syndrome, which once fought in China, was assumed. If you infected with this anticipated virus found in Germany and infected in Venezuela, it causes fever, cough, and consciousness opacity. Then the pathogenic bacteria in the body of the infected person mutates to develop encephalitis, leading to a deadly coma and death. In a simulation pursuing as realistic possibilities as possible based on our current technology and knowledge, 150 million people will die in 20 months from the spread of infection, while at the same time they cannot grasp the clue to make a vaccine at all. According to Dr. Eric Toner of the Johns Hopkins Center for Global Health Security, if we were unable to develop a vaccine after that, it will be an unheard great tragedy that 900 million people, nearly 10% of the estimated world population, will be sacrificed. The shocking simulation that nearly 1 billion people will be sacrificed in the whole world was explained, but according to Dr. Toner, it might be a sufficient scenario that is probable. Pandemics tell us the arrival of the tribulation era. The simulation is practically as realistic as possible, and it may include technologies and knowledge that exist today. Now, some Christian groups believe that this research was a precursor to real events highlighted in the Bible. What Christian conspiracy theorists are paying attention to is the passage in the New Testament, Luke chapter 21, verse 11. New Testament, Luke chapter 21, verse 11. New International Version, NIV. There will be great earthquakes, famines, and pestilences in various places, and fearful events and great signs from heaven. In the Bible study blog Signposts of the Times, the article points out that the coming pandemic tells us the arrival of the tribulation era in the New Testament, John's Revelation. Though the tribulation era will continue for 7 years, a quarter of the world's population will be cleared up by war, famine, and plague in its first half. It is not a story only about a billion people. The current population of the Earth is 7.6 billion people. If perhaps 600 million people can be saved with the air rapture, it would suggest that about 1.75 billion people will die. Besides the global pandemic warnings, there are many incidents showing that the return of Christ is near. From Signposts of the Times. Recently, in Africa, Ebola hemorrhagic fevers have begun to become prevalent again, measles have become prevalent in Europe and other countries, and rubellas have become also prevalent in Japan. In the near future, the spread of worldwide infection pandemic may occur as the biblical epistemism predicts.